Imagine opening like a massive, beautifully designed flagship retail store. You've curated top-tier products, you've got brilliant lighting, incredible staff, but the front door physically sticks.
Oh, that's the worst.
Right. Every single time a customer tries to walk in, they have to stand out on the sidewalk and aggressively jiggle the handle.
Yeah, and nobody's going to do that for long.
Exactly. Over half of them give up after like 3 seconds, turn around, and literally walk straight into your competitor's shop next door.
Which is just, I mean, it's heartbreaking for a business owner.
It really is. And in the digital world, that is exactly what is happening to thousands of businesses right now. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get into this.
Our mission today is to stop you from unknowingly bleeding revenue through these invisible, highly preventable flaws lurking in your website's architecture.
Yeah, the stuff you can't see but definitely feel.
Exactly. We are pulling apart a comprehensive guide focused on how a specialized Elementor web design agency, and we're specifically looking at the methodologies of industry leaders like Viral Chili today, how they can completely overhaul these hidden bottlenecks.
And it's so important because, you know, a modern website isn't just a digital brochure anymore. It's a dynamic machine. And if the underlying gears are rusty, I mean, everything else just falls apart.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the very first metric we really need to confront is the absolute unforgiving necessity of speed.
Oh, yeah. The modern web just it operates on a baseline of instantaneous delivery.
Any friction is penalized, right?
Heavily penalized. If we look at the raw data surrounding user behavior today, patience isn't just low, it is statistically non-existent.
It's crazy. When you look under the hood of failing sites, the numbers are genuinely startling. Like 53% of mobile users will abandon a page entirely if it takes more than 3 seconds to load.
Just 3 seconds.
3 seconds. That means before your logo even fully renders on the screen, over half of your potential audience, half of your ad spend, half of your lead generation pipeline is just gone.
Poof. Gone. And the fallout from that slow load time, it isn't just limited to the immediate loss of a customer.
Wait, there's more.
Oh, the immediate loss is painful, sure, but the secondary consequence is what actually threatens a business's long-term survival.
Because of Google.
Exactly. We have to look at how search engines, specifically Google, interpret that exact user behavior.
Right, because they're watching everything.
Yeah, Google heavily monitors user engagement metrics, and they particularly focus on what happens after someone clicks a search result.
So if I click a link...
Right. If you click a link, wait 2 seconds, get frustrated by a blank white screen, and immediately hit the back button to return to the search results, that creates an event in SEO known as pogo sticking.
Pogo sticking, which is essentially a massive red flag to the algorithm.
Precisely. If pogo sticking happens consistently on your site, Google's algorithm doesn't just assume, like, oh, this site is a bit slow.
What do they assume?
It assumes your site is fundamentally unsatisfying or irrelevant. Or just broken.
Wow.
Yeah. The algorithm's primary goal, is to serve the user the best possible result. So if your site consistently causes users to bounce right back to the search page, you will be actively demoted in the rankings.
So a 3-second delay doesn't just cost you the visitors you have today.
No, it actively prevents you from acquiring any organic visitors tomorrow.
That is brutal. So the mechanics of fixing this, it has to go far beyond just, compressing a few JPEG images.
Oh, way beyond. Agencies like Viral Chili are going in and systematically overhauling how the server and the user's browser actually communicate.
Like getting into the really deep technical weeds.
Exactly. They're aggressively targeting things like render blocking JavaScript, deferring all those non-essential scripts so the browser can actually paint the visible content first.
Right, so the user sees something immediately.
Exactly, and they're implementing advanced caching strategies, not just, basic browser caching, but object caching using Redis or Memcached.
Okay, getting fancy.
Yeah, and leveraging edge caching via content delivery networks. So the data is literally physically closer to the user requesting it.
Right, bouncing off a server in their own city instead of halfway across the country, and doing that specifically within the Elementor environment. I imagine that requires a pretty specialized understanding of how the platform actually generates code.
It really does. Elementor is incredibly powerful. It's an amazing tool, but it requires strict configuration to ensure it outputs clean, minified CSS and HTML.
Otherwise, it gets messy.
Super messy. Professionals know how to strip out the native bloat, disable unnecessary widgets, and streamline the DOM, the document object model.
So the browser engine doesn't have to parse thousands of lines of useless code just to display a simple hero section.
Exactly. It's about efficiency.
Which naturally brings us to the hardware reality. Because optimizing for a fast desktop connection with a hardline Ethernet cable, that's only half the battle now.
Barely half.
Right, considering we crossed the mobile tipping point years ago, well over half of all global web traffic is now happening on mobile devices, often on, spotty cellular networks with high latency.
Yeah, if your site isn't natively engineered for a mobile device today, you are functionally invisible to the majority of the human race.
Functionally invisible.
The desktop experience is rapidly becoming like the secondary consideration in web development.
I have to push back a little here, though, just playing the skeptic. If I have a really great desktop site, doesn't my phone just automatically shrink it down to fit the screen? Like responsive design?
Well, that shrinking mindset is actually a total disaster.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen those sites that technically scale down to fit a phone screen, right? But they're completely unusable.
Oh, yeah. Where you have to pinch and zoom to read anything.
Exactly. The text is illegible, all the padding is gone, and the touch targets, the actual buttons and links, are so close together that a user's thumb inevitably triggers the wrong action.
Fat fingering the wrong link. I hate that.
We all do. That phenomenon is usually the result of lazy CSS breakpoints.
What does that mean?
It's when a lot of legacy sites or, sites built by amateurs take a layout designed for a giant 27-inch ultra-wide monitor and simply use proportional scaling to cram it into a 6-inch viewport.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, it's an abysmal user experience. The approach championed by elite Elementor agencies, places like Viral Chili, is true mobile-first component design.
Mobile first.
Yeah.
Okay, how does that work in practice?
They don't start with a sprawling desktop canvas at all. They design the typography scale, the navigation hierarchy, the interaction states, all of it, specifically for a touch interface first.
So they're building the foundation entirely around, like, thumb reachability.
Yes, thumb reachability, readable font sizes without any zooming, and eliminating those hover states that just don't exist on touchscreens. You can't hover a mouse cursor on a smartphone.
Right, right. That makes so much sense.
And only after that mobile architecture is completely dialed in do they use Elementor's responsive controls to scale the experience up.
So they add the complexity and expanded layouts for tablets and desktops later.
Exactly. It ensures the most constrained environment. The smartphone receives the absolute most optimized, lightweight, and user-friendly version of the code.
Okay, so the human experience at the front door is now flawless. The site loads in under 2 seconds. The interface is perfectly calibrated for a mobile device.
Sounds perfect.
But human beings aren't the only entities trying to navigate your site, are they? Search engine bots don't see the beautiful typography or the seamless mobile layouts.
No, they don't care about your font choices.
They only read the blueprint. And if your site's blueprint is a structural nightmare, you're essentially operating a beautiful store hidden at the end of a dark, unmarked alleyway that no one can find.
That transitions us perfectly into the invisible layer of technical SEO.
The dark alleyway.
Exactly. These are the architectural signals that tell Google what your business actually is, who it serves, and most importantly, why it should be trusted.
And the baseline health of this invisible layer is alarmingly poor across the internet, right?
Oh, it's a mess out there.
When you dig into the data regarding Google's core web vitals, it's a massive reality check. Listen to this. Only 48% of mobile websites currently meet the passing standards for core web vitals.
Under half.
Over half of the mobile web is actively failing Google's own technical baseline.
Yeah, to understand why the failure rate is so incredibly high, we need to unpack what core web vitals actually measure.
Not just a generic speed test, is it?
No, not at all. Google is measuring 3 very specific user-centric metrics. First is largest contentful paint, or LCP, which measures raw loading performance.
Meaning how long it takes for the biggest piece of content, like a hero image, to render on the screen.
Exactly. Second is cumulative layout shift, or CLS, which measures visual stability.
CLS is a massive pain point for users. That's when you go to click a button, but like an ad or an image finally loads at the last millisecond.
Not pushing the button.
And you accidentally click on something completely different.
It's incredibly frustrating, and Google penalizes it heavily because they know users hate it.
Makes sense. And the third one?
The third metric is interaction to next paint, or INP, which measures the site's responsiveness to user inputs. So the lag between you tapping a menu icon and the menu actually opening.
Okay, so failing any of these means you fail core web vitals.
which is a confirmed negative ranking factor for your SEO.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Fixing these granular technical issues usually requires a developer to, manually manipulate server files, dig into the database, run complex auditing
It
tools.
can be a nightmare.
But an agency utilizing Elementor can integrate all of this technical optimization directly into their visual workflow, right?
Yeah.
Elementor plays incredibly well with advanced SEO frameworks like Rank Math and Yoast.
Oh, seamlessly. The integration streamlines the entire technical SEO pipeline. A specialized agency like Viral Chili doesn't just design the page visually, they construct the semantic HTML correctly from the start.
So it's pretty on the outside and structurally sound on the inside.
Exactly. They ensure the H1, H2, and H3 tags form this rigid, logical hierarchy that search crawlers can instantly understand. They use Elementor's dynamic tags to automatically pull in optimized meta descriptions and alt text for images.
And they're also injecting schema markup directly through these integrations, which is critical.
Huge.
For the listener who might not be deep into SEO, schema markup, or structured data, is essentially giving Google a perfectly translated cheat sheet.
That's a great way to put it.
Instead of forcing Google's algorithm to read a paragraph of text and, guess if it's a product description or recipe or user review, schema markup feeds that exact context directly to the crawler in a standardized language like JSON LD.
And when an agency implements that structured data natively within the Elementor build, it opens the door to rich snippets in the search results.
Oh, I love rich snippets.
Right. Things like star ratings, pricing, and availability showing up right there on the Google results page.
That drastically increases click-through rates before the user even lands on the site. You are essentially turning that unmarked alleyway into a brilliantly lit, heavily signposted Main Street avenue.
Exactly. It's a game changer.
Okay, so we have the speed, we have the mobile optimization, and the technical SEO is generating highly qualified traffic.
We're on Main Street now.
We are on Main Street. Actual human beings with credit cards are browsing the site. But what if they still aren't converting?
Ah, the million-dollar question.
Right. This is the ultimate friction point for so many businesses. The site looks modern, it ranks well, but visitors are still leaving without clicking Add to Cart or scheduling a consultation. Why?
What's fascinating here is the intersection of web design and cognitive psychology.
Psychology.
Yeah. A beautiful website that lacks a meticulously engineered user flow is fundamentally just digital decoration.
Digital decoration, I like that.
If the user interface doesn't actively guide the visitor toward a specific action, it is failing as a business asset.
It really comes down to cognitive load, doesn't it? When a user lands on a site, their brain is subconsciously trying to figure out what the business does, why it matters, and what they're supposed to do next.
Instantly.
And if they are hit with a massive wall of text, a navigation menu with 15 different drop-downs, and 3 conflicting call-to-action buttons, they experience cognitive overload.
It's just too much.
There's actually a principle for this, according to Hick's law. The time it takes for a person to make a decision increases logarithmically with the number and complexity of choices they are given.
Right.
If you overwhelm them, their default defense mechanism is simply to close the tab.
Just run away. And you have a remarkably short window to prevent that overload. Users form snap judgments about a website's credibility in roughly 50 milliseconds.
Wait, 50 milliseconds? That's not even a full second.
Not even close. It's basically a blink. They rely on visual heuristics, these rapid mental shortcuts based on past experiences.
So what are they scanning for in 50 milliseconds?
They are scanning for professional typography, generous white space, a cohesive color palette, and a consistent brand voice.
Because if a site looks chaotic, or if the design elements feel dated, the user instantly projects those negative qualities onto the business itself.
Exactly. It's a subconscious assumption. If the business can't secure its own digital storefront, its internal operations, its customer service, or its security protocols must be equally messy.
The trust is broken before they even read your value proposition.
Yeah. Completely broken. The solution here lies in data-driven user experience design. Elite Elementor agencies don't just guess what looks good, they engineer a psychological path.
Like breadcrumbs.
Yeah, They utilize visual hierarchy using size, color contrast, and spacing to draw the eye exactly where they want it to go.
They limit choices to reduce that cognitive load.
Right, and they ensure that every single page has one primary, unmistakable call to action.
And they don't just hope it works, right? They prove it works through testing.
Oh, absolutely. They run A/B tests on button placements, headline phrasing, and layout structures. They utilize heat maps and session recordings to see exactly where users are getting stuck or dropping off.
They treat the website like a living, breathing laboratory.
Which is the only way to genuinely optimize for conversion. You have to remove the friction points that you, as the business owner, might be completely blind to because, frankly, you're too close to the product.
Okay, I hear all of this, but I'll push back on the agency ROI here because this brings up a massive elephant in the room regarding Elementor itself.
Okay, let's hear it.
Elementor is literally marketed as a user-friendly, no-code visual builder. The entire value proposition of the software is that it empowers regular people to build sites without hiring a developer.
That is true.
So if I have a decent eye for design and, say, a weekend to spare, aren't I just paying a massive premium for an agency like Viral Chili to do the exact same drag-and-drop operations I could do myself? Why not just buy a template and save $10,000?
That is the classic DIY trap, and it's a completely valid question to ask.
Right. It seems so easy.
It is undeniably cheaper in the immediate short term to build it yourself. However, what you are paying an agency for is not the ability to drag a text widget onto a canvas.
Okay, then what am I paying for?
You are paying for the architectural expertise to construct the document object model, the DOM, correctly underneath that canvas.
Let's dive into that because the visual interface of Elementor hides a lot of underlying complexity, doesn't it?
Oh, it hides so much. When a DIY user tries to achieve a specific visual layout, say a complex grid of services with overlapping images, they almost always do it the wrong way.
How so?
They nest intersections inside of intersections. They add excessive padding and margin to just kind of force elements into place.
Oh,
They drop in 15 different widgets to build something that could have been done with 3.
and what does that do?
Every single time they do that, Elementor generates another layer of HTML div wrappers. This creates severe DOM bloat.
Like Russian nesting dolls of useless code.
Exactly.
So the browser has to download and parse a massive tangled web of code just to figure out where a single paragraph is supposed to sit on the screen.
Precisely. Furthermore, DIY users tend to rely heavily on inline CSS.
Meaning they style each thing individually.
Right. Instead of setting up a global design system defining the H1 fonts, the primary button colors, the container widths, and the central site settings, they manually change the font and color on every individual widget.
That sounds exhausting.
It is, and it bloats the CSS files immensely. It also makes the site nearly impossible to update cleanly in the future.
So search engines encounter this messy, bloated code, the rendering engine chokes on it, your core web vitals plummet, and your site suddenly takes 6 seconds to load.
You essentially build a house of cards. It might look structurally sound from the street, but the moment a strong wind blows,
Like a major Google algorithm update or a new iOS browser version.
the entire thing collapses. You saved money on the initial build, but you are hemorrhaging revenue every single day because your site is slow, invisible to search engines, and frustrating to users.
So professional agencies use Elementor as an advanced framework, not a crutch.
Exactly. They utilize custom CSS and global variables. They employ semantic HTML tags like article, nav, and section instead of just generic divs.
Which drastically improves accessibility for screen readers and SEO crawlers.
Yep. And we can't forget QA testing.
Right. They bring rigorous quality assurance testing to the table. An agency isn't just checking if the site looks good on their specific MacBook.
No, they are running it through actual device labs, testing it across various generations of physical Android and iOS devices, different browser engines like Safari, Chrome, and Firefox.
And simulating slow 3G network connections, right?
Right.
To ensure the performance holds up under real-world constraints.
Absolutely. And we really can't ignore the economics of retention here.
Give me the numbers.
The data proves that when an agency optimizes a site to actually pass core web vitals, users are 24% less likely to abandon the site during the initial load sequence.
24%. Capturing 24% more of your existing traffic at the very top of the funnel that fundamentally alters the return on investment of your entire digital marketing strategy.
The agency literally pays for itself by plugging the holes in your bucket.
And how long does this usually take? Like if I hire an agency to fix my site.
It depends. A week or two for simple speed fixes, but usually 2 to 4 weeks for complete redesign and optimization overhaul.
And you have to vet them properly. Don't just look at pretty pictures in their portfolio. Ask for references, check those portfolio sites to see if they actually load fast and rank well, and interview them on their QA processes.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for the listener? We've covered the mechanics of a 3-second death sentence, the invisible architecture of technical SEO, the cognitive psychology of user flow, and the hidden dangers of DIY DOM bloat.
It's a lot of ground.
It is. The underlying through line of all this data is that a modern website is not a static piece of art that you just set and forget. It is a highly complex, interconnected ecosystem.
And problems within that ecosystem compound rapidly. A minor issue with render blocking JavaScript today becomes a permanent penalty to your organic search visibility tomorrow.
And a slightly confusing navigation hierarchy today translates into thousands of dollars in abandoned carts over the course of a fiscal quarter.
It all adds up.
Utilizing specialized Elementor web design services, like the teams at Viral Chili, provides the specific engineering and design expertise needed to turn a slow, poorly converting liability into a high-performance business asset.
It's an investment, not an expense.
It's time to take a highly critical look at your own digital footprint or the web presence of your employer. You have to step outside of your internal biases and view the site through the lens of a highly impatient stranger on a bad cellular network.
Right.
Is your front door jammed? Are you burying your business in an unmarked SEO alleyway because your code is an unreadable mess?
The most profound concept to walk away with here, I think, is the reality of digital body language.
Digital body language. I love that phrasing.
Think about it. In the physical world, human beings communicate volumes of critical information before a single word is ever spoken. We judge credibility through posture, eye contact, the firmness of a handshake, the cleanliness of a storefront. Your website operates on the exact same psychological principles in the digital realm. Its server response time, its DOM architecture, the stability of its layouts, and the clarity of its user flow. These are essentially how your business stands, speaks, and makes eye contact with the world.
Wow.
You really need to ask yourself, what subconscious signals is your digital body language broadcasting to your potential customers before they ever read a single word of your content?